In 2013, I was lost. Minimum wage job, no direction. Then a motorcycle accident shattered both my hands. I thought my life was over until I picked up a camera. So this is the beginning of my origin story. In 2011, I moved to Seattle, and my overall goal was to go to college to study computer science. At the time, I had to work a couple jobs in order to afford rent, because in Seattle, rent was expensive, and my overall goal was to go to school. And after 2 years of living in Seattle, working a couple jobs, I was finally ready to enroll into college. I came back to my hometown on the Olympic Peninsula, and during that time I was on my way to go see my childhood best friend, and sadly I got into a motorcycle accident. That was the accident that completely changed my life. So basically what happened was I was passing a truck, and at the same exact time there was another vehicle that was turning left while I was passing, and so I clipped the rear bumper of the truck that was pulling out. I hit a chain link fence, flew 30 feet into the air, and I was conscious through the whole time, and it's ridiculous because adrenaline is insane. I didn't feel a thing. I remember I took off my helmet, and then I looked back and I saw my bike was just completely destroyed. I took off my gloves, and then one of my gloves was like super bloody, and I noticed, if you could see this finger, it was like dangling off, and I was like, oh, that's not supposed to be like that. And so got rushed to the hospital. Eventually, it was interesting because when I was at the hospital, I actually remember the pain. It was just building and building, and they wouldn't give me any pain meds because they needed to get me x-rayed like all over my body to see if I had anything broken. And I remember just like sitting there and be like, oh, this sucks, now that the adrenaline wore off. Basically what happened was my knee was cut down to the bone. My finger was broken, and it was like kind of falling off there. My thumb was also fractured, and so I had to get surgery on that. And at the time, it was really unfortunate because I did not have any health insurance. And so I got slapped with this like crazy, I think the bill was like $16,000 or something in medical bills, and I lost my 2 jobs. I lost my apartment. I lost my opportunity to go to school, and I was thinking my life was over. Basically, I had to move back in with my parents. I couldn't, if you can imagine, so basically both my hands were completely bandaged, and so if you ever want to become very humbled very fast, go through something where you don't have any hands. I could do nothing, and I literally had to rely on my sweet mother to help me take a shower, to help me go to the bathroom, to do absolutely everything, which sucks when I was like, oh, I'm super independent. I moved out to Seattle, like I'm doing this whole like getting started adulting thing, and then I just had a huge reverse in progress. And at the time, I just remember being just very discouraged, and I was like, wow, what is my life now? Like what is my reason for being? And I was getting really, really depressed and thinking like, holy cow, like I have this huge like debt, these medical bills are piling up. Just even like taking the ambulance, holy cow, that was like thousands of dollars just to take an ambulance. I was like, man, that's just so wild. I was just like super, super sad. Just I was living with my parents again, which is like always fun. So before all of this, my biggest passion in life, it was music. I was in choir for 9 years, and I loved to play the guitar. I was self-taught, and I loved music, and I wished I could have music be my career. I always knew that it wasn't a promising path to pursue music as a career. It's just, I knew that computer science would be a much more stable path. That being said, I had no creative outlet, and because both my hands were completely bandaged up, I wasn't able to play guitar anymore, at least temporarily. And so I was just really, really sad and depressed. And I remember my mom being like, hey, like, maybe you should try this old DSLR I have, which was a Nikon D90. And at first I was like, no, Mom, like, I'm not gonna go out and just like take pictures. I still had like a cast on. I had like a couple fingers exposed. I could have made it work. I just remember then I was just like, I'm not gonna do that. But there was something inside me that was like, you know what? Maybe I should try this. Maybe like it's way better than just sitting around just like watching, you know, movies all day or whatever, just being useless. So I eventually gave in, and I grabbed my mom's camera. And the first, I remember the day it was, I totally grabbed it and I went out just into the yard. I grew up on like a 5-acre farm, and my parents had a pasture, and I remember just going out there and like capturing just random things that I thought were beautiful. Actually, the very first thing I did was I looked on YouTube and I just typed in how to use a DSLR, because I had no idea. I didn't even take photography in high school. And I looked up a YouTube video and just started learning. It was like, okay, you got to do this, and this. And so for a while I was like, you know, I put it on the more auto setting, but I would just go out and take pictures of things that I thought was beautiful. And so I came back, I uploaded it to a computer, and then started editing it. And my mom was like, oh, these are really good photos. I was like, oh, thanks, Mom. My mom's a character. She's not the type that would lie to me. She's extremely honest. And so like, if I suck at something, she would be like, yeah, this is okay. When she said that they were actually good photos, I was like, oh, she's being honest. And so I was like, interesting. So what I did next was I started a Facebook and an Instagram. And then I just started uploading photos to those sites. So what I did next is I started going on these hikes, just random hikes around the peninsula. The peninsula is incredibly beautiful, and I remember I'd go on hikes with either my mom or friends, family, and I would just take pictures of people and on the hikes, and just like the different landscapes as well. And I really fell in love with capturing certain things, and I started posting them on social media. People started sharing them, and I started tagging people in them, and just like it started growing and growing. And so after I got the cast off my hands, I started a job at a restaurant in town. It was one of those jobs where I remember I would like work really, really hard, but then like get paid nothing. Sorry. I got paid very little. I was working a minimum wage jobs, and occasionally like I would share tips. I just remember thinking like, dang, like I do not want to be doing this. And so I had to be paying my medical bills. So fast forward a couple months in, I'm starting like these social media, Instagram and Facebook, and I'm posting to there, and I see a message coming in, and they were asking, hey, like, what would you charge for a photo shoot? And I was like, what? Like you can make money taking pictures? And then so I was like, I have no idea what I need to charge. Like, I can't even remember. I think it was like $50 or something like that. $100. I don't know. For like an hour photo shoot, whatever. And so I did that, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of a trip. I just started getting hired from these different people, my clients. And then I remember it was one of the best days in my life when I had to put in my 2 weeks to that restaurant that I just loathed working at, to become a photographer. And I just remember it got to the point where it was interfering with my photography shoots to work there, and I'm like, well, I can't do both of these things. So it was just such an incredible feeling when I was like, hey, like I've got to quit this minimum wage job to pursue something that I had a huge passion for. And that was the time that it began my career as a photographer. So yeah, that was 12 years ago, which is crazy to think about. So fast forward, like I remember my very first year, I didn't make a ton of money, but some crazy things just started happening really fast. Within the first couple of years of starting a business, I remember I was on a photography shoot for New York Life from this incredible photographer and mentor of mine, Cynthia Perez. She's like, without her, man, holy cow, she's been like a huge help in my whole journey. And I'm so thankful for her. And Emily Beeland, who's a producer in Los Angeles. They have helped me so much through this whole journey, and I'm so thankful to them. I remember I was on this New York Life job. She billed out like hundreds of thousands of dollars for this ad campaign that we shot for 2 or 3 days. And I was thinking like, holy cow, like people are even surprised that you can make a living doing photos. And I had no idea that you can absolutely thrive being a photographer. I remember I got a photo I shot on a billboard on I-5. Ashton Kutcher reposted this photo I took. Some really big Instagram accounts shared my photos, and I even licensed a couple photos to Goodyear Tire. And I remember I sold those photos for like $4,700, which just like blew my mind. So that being said, I tell this story because one, it's an interesting beginning to my passion and the way that I've been able to do what I love for a living. But also, I really like to emphasize that I had a choice. Whenever you are presented with a problem in your life or a struggle, there's usually two paths. One is you can be a victim and you can say, oh my goodness, woe is me, like my life sucks and this is just going to be the way it is. Or two, you can choose to push through it and you can choose to grow from it. And so I had a choice then, and if I decided that I was a victim and my life is just going to suck from now on, my life's over, blah blah, which I was headed towards that way, I don't know where I would be right now. Like genuinely, I couldn't be more thankful and blessed to be able to do what I love for a living, but it's because I chose the harder path, which is to grow. It's like working out in the gym, you know, it's going to be painful, like lifting weights, your muscles are just tearing apart, but you're growing through it. But also, I genuinely believe that everybody has a gift. Everybody has a gift that they operate in. And I really want to encourage everybody, no matter what age you are, no matter what situation you're in, I believe everybody has a gift that they're genuinely, extremely good at. And I believe that a lot of people, they go down this path where they're content with their mediocre job or they're content with what they're doing now, and they don't discover what their true calling is. And I believe I discovered my true calling, and I was so thankful to be able to have that at a younger age too. Like I said, I truly believe everybody has a gift, and just not everyone's willing to find it. So I encourage everybody that's watching this that you have a gift, and you're so unique in so many different ways, and just be open-minded. I would have never guessed. So back in high school, I remember I would always think like pictures are a waste of hard drive space, which is so ironic. And so I would have never guessed that I would become a professional photographer, and that's what I do for a living. And so just be open-minded. You never know where life will take you and what kind of struggles are going to be in your story. And looking back at everything that went on, I wouldn't have changed a thing. All the pain that I went through, all like the even my finger is looking a little wild and weird, I wouldn't have changed any of it because it wouldn't have made me who I am today. And I'm so thankful for all the people that have supported me through all of that, and just the fact that I'm here and genuinely doing what I love for a living and making a great living doing it. I'm just so thankful, and I wish that for everybody. I wanted to tell that story, and yeah, just encourage people that are out there that are, you know, going through something difficult. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and it all just depends on you. It all just depends on the choices that you make. And yeah, I just wish everybody the best out there, and thank you so much for the love and support. If you want to like and subscribe, that would be awesome. My name is Isaac Gautschi, and this is my story.